Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Commander's Crypt. What a beautiful day. We've got new Capena coming out, and here they are. Here they are. Here's my boxes. These boxes will be going to a lucky winner on both my Patreon and my subscribers. There it is. I got these from Gopher Games here in the New Orleans area, and like I said, we're going to be giving away 2 boxes, one to a patron, a lucky patron, and another to a subscriber. So if you're in the New Orleans area, or if you're looking for cards, there it is. There's the information for Gopher Games right there. But today we're going to talk about new Capena, a new commander that's coming out. There's not a whole lot of hype on this commander, and I think she's going to actually be better than what everyone thinks, and that's going to be Giada, Font of Hope. She is a legendary creature, an angel for 1 white, 1 colorless. She's a 2/2. Her text says, Flying Vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. Then you can tap her, add 1 white, spend this mana only to cast an angel spell. There's everybody's all the attention has been going toward Lord Xander and these other commanders, especially the precons, but I actually think that when all is said and done, people are going to realize how good Giada is. I think she's actually absolutely fantastic. She's very cheap. You could keep slinging her if she gets killed, and she's going to help you cast those bigger angels that are going to come out, and they just keep getting bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to have things in the deck that are going to increase those counters and keep the counters around if your team gets wiped out. So without further ado, we will get into it. Giada, Font of Hope. So with this commander, and there's a lot of support in this set. There is, there's a white enchantment in New Capena that helps you save those counters, and the name of that card is Resourceful Defense. White, 1 white, 2 colorless is an enchantment. Whenever a permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control. Then it says 1 white, 4 colorless, move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent you control. So basically what this allows you to do is, with Giada, is when those counters come on all those angels, if they get wiped, you can take those counters and put them on a land. And then when another creature comes in for 1 white, 4 colorless, you can move any number of counters onto that creature. So you can move them all on there and make your other angel that comes out massive. So I think that's fantastic. There's not a whole lot of talk about this commander as compared to the other commanders, but I think people are going to realize that she's actually very, very strong. If not the top commander, especially if you build it right, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. The next card we're going to use in this deck is going to be the Ozolith. It's an artifact for 1 colorless, and it says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, you may move all counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. Same thing with this card. You're going to be getting lots of counters on all of your angels, and then if one gets killed or they all get killed, that goes onto the Ozolith, and then you can move them onto another creature. I think that is a very good card. Metallic Mimic's also going to a potentially good card to put in this deck. 2 colorless. It's a 2/1 artifact creature shapeshifter. As Metallic Mimic enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You're going to choose angels, obviously. Metallic Mimic is the chosen type in addition to its other types. Last line says each other creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So if you got Giada out, you got this out, each one of your angels is going to come out with 2 counters on it. And that's going to be absolutely fantastic for this deck. Next, we're going to put a Serra Ascendant in there if we can, because what he does is he's just amazing. I haven't checked the price on this guy for a while. For a while it wasn't too bad. It was like $5 or $6. I mean, really, this guy is just so powerful. There's really no reason not to run him. He's just absolutely amazing in this deck. You know, if you get this first turn, you know, you play this before you put your commander down, and now it's a 12-point swing every time you hit with it, and you're going to be way ahead of everybody else. Every pure mono white deck needs Serra Ascendant in it. Next is Authority of the Councils. This could go in there to help, you know, with your angel deck. 1 white, it's an enchantment. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. That's any token, anything. They're going to be coming tapped, and you're going to be making lots of life. This if you haven't played with this card, this card may not look like much, but it's actually very super crazy, stupid, insanely strong. And you'll hear your opponents griping about it every time all their creatures have to come into play tapped. It really slows them down, but it doesn't slow you down at all, and you're going to gain a bunch of life. Next, we've got Mother of Runes. She's going to help protect your commander, but she's also going to help protect your big angels that you're going to be putting out with her. She's 1 white. She's a 1/1 target creature you control gains protection from a color of your choice until end of turn. Very good card in this deck. Then you got Smothering Tithe. Smothering Tithe is a fantastic card. It's going to help you, you know, get that mana that you need for your big angels that you're going to be coming out with later, like Avacyn and Achroma and all that kind of stuff. Luminarch Ascension. Anybody that's seen my other deck techs know that I absolutely love this card. I absolutely love this card. This is one of the best cards ever created for Commander. Yeah, I said it. I know it's a bold statement, but I can back it up. 1 white, 1 colorless. Luminarch Ascension is an enchantment. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if you didn't lose life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Luminarch Ascension. So what happens is, second turn, you play this card out. You know, nobody's developed yet. It comes around the table. It's got 4 quest counters on it, and now it's activated. It's locked and loaded. It's got 1 white, 1 colorless. Create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if Luminarch Ascension has 4 more quest counters on it. This card is fantastic early game or late game. As a matter of fact, this card is so powerful, if you got it in your opening hand, you might play this before your commander, get the quest counters on it, and then just let it sit and start playing your angels. But then also you can, if you got a couple of mana left over, pop out other angels. And the Streets of New Capenna, it's got a lot of cards that does a lot of token generation. You know, just with a cursory glance, it looks to me like white is the biggest beneficiary of power in this set. Everybody's talking about Halo Fountain. 1 white, 2 colorless. It's an artifact. 1 white, untap a tapped creature you control. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. 2 tap, untap 2 tapped creatures you control. Draw a card. 5 white, tap, untap 15 tapped creatures you control. You win the game. This card is going to go into this deck as well. Besides, you know, using Luminarch Ascension to create tokens, you're also going to use Halo Fountain. It creates you blockers, dummies. It draws you cards, and then it wins the game for you. What I noticed in this set is white has gained some of the most powerful cards. They're helping white because it's the weakest color by giving win cons and by helping draw cards, something that white has been very deficient in for a very, very long time. After Luminarch Ascension, on the token tip is Rabble, Rousing, also new Capenia, 1 white, 4 colorless. It's an enchantment, Hideaway 5. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Then if you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Okay, so again, helping white big time with the token creation. You know, that's going to help with Halo Fountain to get to your win con. So this is another fantastic card that would go in this deck. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many +1/+1 green and white citizen creature tokens. With Luminarch Ascension and Halo Fountain, these are all going to work together very well. Next card we're going to put in here is Benny Brax, Zoologist, 1 white, 3 colorless. He's a legendary creature and elf druid. You can put him into play by convoking. Your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting a spell pays for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. Then it says at the beginning of each end step, if you created a token this turn, draw a card. It's helping white be able to draw a card, something that it's very deficient in. So that would go in the deck as well. And then what we've got another card we're going to put in there is Smuggler's Share, 1 white, 2 colorless. It's also an enchantment. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn. Then create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands enter this battlefield under their control this turn. Again, this is a very powerful white spell that's going to help white with card draw. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn. So that is a fantastic card that white needs. Another new Capena card that just came out, 2 white, 1 colorless creature elf wizard, gonna be Rumor Gatherer. She's a 2/1 alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card instead. Again, more card draw. And it doesn't say non-token creature. It says another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. This, with those other cards I mentioned, is going to allow you to scry a bunch and then draw. White got a lot of help in this deck. Again, in the card draw area, they got Aerial Extortionist, 2 white, 3 colorless. We're also going to put this card in the deck, Creature Bird Soldier Flying. Whenever Aerial Extortionist enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may cast it. Whenever another player casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. So again, this is going to do 2 things for you. As soon as it comes into play, you'll be able to exile something your opponent has, like their commander, or something else that's causing problems. But then it says, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile 1 target non-land permanent. They can recast it, but it slows down your opponents. And whenever another player casts a spell from anywhere other than a hand, draw a card. Okay, that's going to be commanders or anything else. Again, huge help for white. White, so far, you know, we haven't really played with these cards a whole lot, but so far I'm seeing that white got the most help. Now, what we're going to do also in this deck is we're going to put a land tax in there. And land tax, you know, a lot of people don't see it this way, but land tax is actually one of the ways that white could draw cards back in the day. This is a very strong card. If you've watched my other deck techs, I've talked about how this card was banned for the longest time. It doesn't seem like much 1 white enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. If an opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for up to three basic land cards, reveal them, then put them into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. This was kind of a roundabout way for white to draw cards. What you would do is you would draw 3 basic lands into your hand, and then that would thin your deck out and help you draw what you needed to do. But then also, you know, if you've watched my other deck techs, this card was so absolutely strong that it was banned for a very, very long time. So we're going to have this in the deck to help draw cards and to help put lands down so we can play these big angels that we've got. Weathered Wayfarer. This is a fantastic card. We've got this in the deck because it's kind of like a land tax, but it allows you to grab any lands that you want whatsoever. And so that could help you later on. 1 white, it's a 1/1 Nomad Cleric. White, tap it, search your library for a land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Play this ability only if opponent controls more lands than you. Now, if you notice, this says for a land card. It doesn't say basic or plains or anything like that. It allows you to grab any land that you may need, a Maze of Ith or anything else. That's why we have this card in this deck, because it's going to help you grab, you know, your Tron pieces, Urza's Mine, that's Anson Maddox, one of my favorite artists. Another Tron piece, Urza's Tower. Another Tron piece, Urza's Power Plant, Mark Teed, another one of my favorite. But what I'm getting at is Weathered Wayfarer allows you to grab any land that you may need, like Amiria the Sky Ruin. It enters the battlefield tapped at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control 7 more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Fantastic card. Somebody kills your angels, you keep putting them right back out. And Weathered Wayfarer allows you to just tutor up these lands. Weathered Wayfarer is a land tutor. Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. I have this in here because this is the closest that white's going to get to what black has had for a very long time. Control, you know, Cabal Coffers or Cabal Stronghold. This is one of the few ways that you can, you know, increase your mana other than Smothering Tithe. If you've got a big angel out like Avison, or a bunch of few angels out, which you could with this deck, you know, you could use this to tap it, choose a color, add to your mana pool amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. So that's why we have Nykthos in here to help you cast these big angels that will be coming out later. Same thing, Weathered Wayfarer. Let's say you need help. You can use him to go get the Ondu Sky Ruins. But then what Ondu Sky Ruins does is it becomes a board wipe. Destroy all non-land permanents. So Weathered Wayfarer is a fantastic card. Probably not too expensive either. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. This is not a bad card because, you know, you could still use it for mana if you don't have the requisite number of lands that you need in the deck in order to use it. You know, tap it to add 1 color to your mana pool, tap it 2 to your mana pool, only if you control 7 more lands. That's going to help later. Arcane Lighthouse. That's going to help you with people that are greaves up, you know, have their creatures greaved up or bootsed up. It taps for 1 colorless or 1 tap until in a turn creatures your opponents control lose hexproof and shroud and can't have hexproof of shroud. You know, in this deck you're going to be basically playing about 30 planes, so it's okay to toss some utility lands into this deck. That's why we have a smattering of those around. Dousing Dagger. I absolutely love this card. If you've watched my other deck techs, it's a way for colors that usually can't ramp to be able to ramp. Dousing Dagger is 2 colorless. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2/2 green plant creature totals with defender, whatever. You're gonna have so many opponents, you just give this to somebody that's not a threat. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may transform Dowsing Dagger, equip 2. And this, because white is notorious for not being able to ramp, this gives you the Lost Veil once you flip it. I don't think people realize how good this card is. I know it's kind of janky, but it's a very fantastic card. Especially since you're going to be able to put out tokens and all that kind of stuff. If you get started early and your commander is very cheap, you could play this, you know, second, third turn, fourth turn, get in somewhere to somebody who hasn't developed yet, or you know, with one of your tokens or whatever. Now it flips, and you know, third or fourth turn, you just increased your land mana base by 3. This is a very fantastic card. I've got this in my Spirit Air Force 1 deck. You know, you can play a Spirit and then put this on, you know, play this second turn, third turn swing, and now you just increased your mana, you know, third turn by 3. You know, you've already got 5 land mana down by the third turn. Eye of Singularity. This could be a card, depending on what your meta looks like. Eye of Singularity, I think this card is going to start picking up in value. 1 white, 3 colorless. With all of the token strategies and treasure tokens that are coming out, this might be a good card to have. If you get it later and somebody's got a bunch of tokens, you play it down, it becomes like a Wrath of God. It'll wipe out all tokens, and it also is going to keep your opponents from having way more treasure tokens than you. This deck does have a lot of tokens and treasure generation, but if somebody's ahead of you, you could play this and keep them from going off. When Eye of Singularity comes into play, bury all permanents with the same name except basic lands. Whenever any permanent other than a basic land comes into play, bury any permanent already in play with the same name. So that's another thing too. It buries that permanent that's already in play. So the new one comes out and will have summoning sickness or whatever. So this, I'm telling you, I think this card is going to start get increasing play. Null Chamber is another card that you could potentially put in here. 1 white, 3 colorless. You and target opponent each name any card except the basic land. Those cards cannot be played. Let's say you've got 5 people at the table and you've got Giada, you know, not very strong at first, and somebody else has got a, you know, relatively small powered commander, and you look across the table and you see somebody with a Satoru Umezawa build or a Lord Xander build. You know that those commanders can cause you big problems, so you talk to your buddy next to you that has the least powered commander, and you guys play politics, and you name Umezawa can't be played, and he names Lord Xander can't be played, and now you guys have just leveled the playing field. Null Chamber is a fantastic card. I think it's going to start getting more play. Then we get into the Angels. Gisela the Broken Blade, 2 white, 2 colorless flying. First strike, lifelink. She's going to help you gain life at the beginning of your end step. If you both own and control Gisela the Broken Blade and a creature named Bruna the Fading Light, exile them, then meld them into Brazilla, Voice of Nightmares. So there she is. Bruna, the Fading Light, Angel Horror. When you cast Bruna, the Fading Light, you may return target angel or human creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. She's got flying and vigilance. So that's good right there. When you play her, she's able to resurrect an angel out of your graveyard. But then, when these two are on the board together, they create Brazilla, Voice of Nightmares. They create this big monstrosity, a 9/10 legendary creature, Eldrazi Angel, flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells with converted mana cost 3 or less. Very, very good card. You know, you're playing Angel, so why not? It's always fun when this happens, and I've always liked this. I thought this was a fantastic design, using the 2 cards to make one big card. I absolutely love that. Next we've got Avison, Angel of Hope, legendary creature, angel, flying, vigilance, indestructible. Other permanents you control have indestructible. This is a fantastic card, has to go into this deck in my opinion, if you have one. I know she's starting to get pricey. A Chroma, Angel of Wrath. Now, you know, Giada's going to have these creatures coming out with counters on them. So, and she's going to help cast them. And with, you know, land tax and your other ways to draw cards, we've also got a sort of the Animist in here. You're going to be grabbing up lands and playing these things, and they're going to come out. She's, you know, 9/9, 7/7, and then, you know, all of these tokens keep growing depending on how many creatures you've got out. So, Linvala, Keeper of Silence, if you have one of these, this would be another good one to get, because what she does, she could be a commander in her own right. What she does is, she's a 3/4 flyer. Activated abilities of your creatures your opponents control can't be activated. So that's going to shut down their commanders and other shenanigans that they may try with their creatures. But, back to Brazella, Giada says that each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you control. If Brazella, is exiled and comes back into play, she will also come in with counters on her for however many creatures she has. So she might come in as a 11/12 or something like that. So, you know, it's when they come into the battlefield. It's not a cast trigger. So, Baneslayer Angel, she's in here because she's a 5/5 for 5. She's got flying, first strike, lifelink, and she's got protection from demons and from dragons. That might be a good thing with all the demons in New Capena. Angel of Deliverance, 2 white, 6 colorless, flying, Delirium. Whenever Angel of Deliverance deals damage, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, exile target creature and opponent controls. That could be helpful later. Blinding Angel. Blinding Angel is a very, very, very strong card. People don't realize how strong this card is. You can basically lock out players out of the game. With 2 white, 3 colorless, she's a flyer. Whenever Blinding Angel deals combat damage to a player, that player skips his or her next combat phase. So, you know, that I've seen this many times where Blinding Angel is getting in and they just sit there, they can't attack back. This is a very fantastic card and probably does not cost that much. Sunblast Angel, she's another angel flying. When Sunblast Angel enters the battlefield, destroy all tapped creatures. This is something that we really, really love at the Commander's Crypt. We love one-sided board wipes. You'll untap, play this, and wipe out everybody else's creatures, and then you'll be ahead of the game. Since we're on the subject of one-sided board wipes, there is a card in New Capena. It's a white sorcery, 2 white, 3 colorless, destroy all creatures with no counters on them. Damning Verdict. So you're going to have that card in this deck because it fits perfectly. All of your angels are going to have counters on them. Damning Verdict comes down. It is a one-sided board wipe. Everybody else's creatures get destroyed except yours, and then you're way ahead of the game. We're also going to play Angel of Serenity, 3 white, 4 colorless. When Angel of Serenity enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from their graveyards. When Angel of Serenity leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hands. This is a good way to take out commanders and to slow your opponents down. Next is Rhea Dawnbringer. She's an oldie but a goodie. What she's going to do is she's going to allow you to return target creature card from your graveyard to play at the beginning of your upkeep. So she's going to go in here as well. Lyra Dawnbringer. 2 white, 3 colorless, flying, first strike, lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. So as you can see, these angels all supplement each other. Angelic Arbiter would be a good one to put in, very cheap card. 2 white, 5 colorless, flying. Each opponent who casts a spell this turn can't attack with creatures. Each opponent who attacked with a creature this turn can't cast spells. It slows your opponents down, and it's a 5/6 flyer. It's able to block. Karmic Guide, another Angel Spirit, 2 white, 3 colorless, pro white. Echo with 2 white, 3 colorless at the beginning of your upkeep. If this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its echo cost. When Karmic Guide enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Basically a 5 casting cost resurrection. Angel of Sanctions, 3/4 flyer. When Angel of Sanctions enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until Angel of Sanctions leaves the battlefield. This is a good one to trip up your opponent's commanders. You know, and he's going to come in with the counters. Emiria Shepherd, 2 white, 5 colorless, flying with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return target non-land permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If that land is a plains, you may return that non-land permanent card to the battlefield instead. So with her out, you drop a land, you're able to pull creatures and permanents out of your graveyard. Archangel of Thune, flying lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So with her and your commander and Metallic Mimic, your angels are going to be coming in with all kinds of counters on them. Twilight Shepherd, what she does is 3 white, 3 colorless, 5/5 flyer, flying vigilance. Basically what happens is if somebody board wipes, all your creatures go into the graveyard, and then they all come right back out onto the field with -1 counters. She has Persist. Fantastic card. Opal Archangel, this is an oldie but a goodie. Urza's block, 1 white, 4 colorless. When one of your opponents successfully casts a creature spell, if Opal Archangel is an enchantment, Opal Archangel becomes a 5/5 creature with flying that counts as an angel, and it has vigilance. This was actually a very strong card back in the day. You know, 5/5 vigilance was strong back then, and you know this is a 5/5 for 5, so we've got that in there. And Giada says when it comes into play, doesn't say cast or whatever. So when Opal Archangel comes into play, it'll get the counters. If there's other angels out there, and Giada is an angel herself, so they're always going to come up with at least 1 counter, maybe more. Angel of Condemnation, 2 white, 2 colorless, flying vigilance. You can 1 and 2 colorless tap Angel of Condemnation, exile another target creature, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So you could use that to protect your creatures that are about to be killed, or you can exile creatures that are attacking you that's going to cause you problems. You can also do the same thing if you exert Angel of Condemnation. Admonition Angel, 3 white, 3 colorless, another landfall angel with 6/6 power and toughness. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may exile target non-land permanent other than Admonition Angel. That's very strong. When Admonition Angel leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled with it to the battlefield under their owner's control. Well, if you're exiling commanders, they may just opt to put it in the command zone if it doesn't look like she's going to go anywhere anytime soon. But this is also good to take care of problematic token creatures. Exquisite Archangel, 2 white, 5 colorless, flying. If you lose the game, instead exile Exquisite Archangel, and your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. Fantastic. Dawnbreak Reclaimer, 2 white, 4 colorless, flying. At the beginning of your end step, choose a creature card in an opponent's graveyard. Then that player chooses a creature card in your graveyard. You may return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. You could see where you could set up situations where this is a better deal for you. The more opponents you have, the Yep, so at the beginning of your end step, choose a creature card in an opponent's graveyard. So the more opponents you have, you know, you're gonna be the bigger beneficiary of that situation. Chroma's Memorial, why not? It's angels, and besides, this is only one of the best cards in Commander. 7 colorless, creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and from red. If you've watched my other deck techs, you know I absolutely love this card. Once this drops, you nullify maybe half of the table or more. Rakdos players can now not block. They can't attack because you can just block them all day. Same thing with black. Fantastic card in this deck. Then we got the support cards. I put a Wandering Archaic in here. He's a 5, for 5 colorless, he's a 4/4. White needs a lot of help, so that's why this card's in here. It says, whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, just like it happens a lot in white, you're taxing everybody anytime they cast an instant or sorcery. They better pay 2 colorless, and if they don't, you get to copy that spell. So if somebody else gets into a big counterspell war or something like that, you could actually copy those counterspells and get in there and play politics. So this is actually a very, very fantastic card that needs to be played with. So yeah, white needs a lot of help, so that's why we've got that in there. Mirror Entity, this could be a good potential card to put in here. Late game, you play this, and now all your angels get XX, depending on how much mana you pump into this thing. So if you've got 10 mana, they're all 10/10s on top of the counters that they got. World Queller, again, like I said, white needs all the help it can get. 2 white, 3 colors. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may choose a card type. If you do, each player sacrifices a permanent of that type. You know, this could work well if you've got tokens and other people don't. They're going tall but not wide, but you're wide. White needs all the help it can get. That's why this card is in there. Hour of Revelation. Now we're going to come into the board wipes. 3 white, 3 colorless. Hour of Revelation costs 3 less to cast. If there are 10 or more non-land permanents on the battlefield, and there will be, destroy all non-land permanents for 3 white. You can reset the board. And if you've got Avacyn out, you know, that's another thing too with these board wipes. If you got Avacyn out, you drop these, and again, they're all one-sided board wipes. Wrath of God, I've had this card since 1995. It was one of the very first cards that I got. I've always kept it. Very good card. Winds of Wrath, destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted. They can't be regenerated. There are a couple of enchantments in this deck to help with that, and we'll show them here. Phyrexian Rebirth, this allows you to reset the board, but then get all of the life, you know, all the creatures that destroyed. You get to put a horror artifact creature into play, where X is the number of creatures destroyed this way. It doesn't say non-token creatures, it just says creatures. So if you got a bunch of token creatures out there, there's a bunch, you drop this, and this guy's like a 20/20. Swords to Plowshare, everybody knows about this card, it's been around forever. Then we've got Teferi's Protection. Teferi's Protection is one of the best cards that has come out in white in a long time. 1 white, 2 colorless, everything phases out and you don't exist, you're not there. So if somebody goes to board wipe or do something crazy, you just pop this out and you blink out. Fiend Hunter, this is a support card. 2 white, 1 colorless. When he enters the battlefield, you may exile another target creature. When he leaves the battlefield, return that creature. But again, if this guy comes out and you target a commander, it's going to slow them down. They may just recast him, since he may look like he's going to be there a while. Same thing with Mangara of Corondor. Tap him, remove Corondor and target permanent from the game. Very good. At instant speed, you get to remove a target permanent from the game. Faith Unbroken. This is a fantastic card. 1, And this is one of the enchantments I was telling about with the Winds of Wrath board wipe. 1 white, 3 colorless. Enchant creature you control. When Faith Unbroken enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until Faith Unbroken leaves the battlefield. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. This is a fantastic card. You get a 2-for-1 for 4 mana. You get to exile a problematic creature and buff your creature. Fantastic card. Entreat the Angels. I played this the other day. What I would suggest is, I played this the other day. I drew it and I didn't say anything because I couldn't quite play it. But then later something happened to where I could play it for its miracle cost. I didn't have the 2 white to play it for its miracle cost, and then my opponent path to exiled my creature and I got a plains. I was not able to play this card because I didn't announce it when I drew it. So, entreat the Angels. It says put X 4/4 white angel creature tokens onto flying with the battlefield. Onto the battlefield. It's got miracle 2 white X colorless. So as soon as you draw this, just announce that you have it, even though you don't think you can play it. If I could have played it, I was going to be able to put 4 or 5 or more angels out. So when you play it, when you draw it, make sure to show it, even though you don't think you can play it, because things may change to where you can play it. Platinum Angel, she's an angel, so she gets the buffs, but then also she helps you. You can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Stonehewer Giant. This guy, there's a couple of equipments in here. He also counts as card draw. 2 white, 3 colorless. He's Vigilance 4/4. 1 white, 1 colorless. Search your library for an equipment card and put it onto the battlefield. Attach it to a creature you control, then shuffle your library. This is an equipment tutor. It's card draw, so that's why he's in here. Oracle's Vault, more cheap card draw for 4 colorless. 2, you can tap it, exile a top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Put a brick counter on Oracle's Vault. So, for 2 mana, this allows you to draw a card, but then when you get the 3 brick counters on it, you can tap it for nothing and put those cards into play. A lot of these angels are pricey, so that's why this is in that deck. White is notorious until the last set. White is very notorious for not having card draw, and these artifacts are going to help you with that, just like Mask of Memory. 2 to cast, 2 to equip, 1 to equip. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a card from your hand. This allows you to filter through your deck and help you draw something that white does not have, and you can just keep discarding lands if you want. SRAM Senior Edisifer. 1 white, 1 colorless. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Fantastic card in this deck. White needs all the draw power it could get. Herald's Horn for 3 colorless. As Herald's Horn enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You will, say angels, obviously. Then it says creature spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 to cast, less to cast. So with Giada and this, that's going to knock down your angel spells by 2. Then it says at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So this also helps with card draw, something white needs very badly. Arcane Encyclopedia, 3 colorless, 3 tap it, draw a card. This helps white. Sword of the Animist, fantastic card for this deck. 2 to cast, 2 to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic link card, put it in the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. This is, again, considered card draw, but also ramp for colors that don't have ramp. Aura of Silence, 2 white, 1 colorless. Artifact enchantment spells. Cost target opponent an additional 2 to play. Sack Aura of Silence, destroy target artifact or enchantment. This helps slow down your opponents and allows you to destroy a problematic artifact or enchantment. Swiftfoot Boots and Greaves will also go into this deck. Dawn of Hope, 1 white, 1 colorless. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. When you do, draw a card. Again, helping, they see that white needs help, so they are using everything they can to help white. And then you can make tokens with this. 1 white, 3 colorless, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Selfless Spirit, he's a 2/1 flyer. You sacrifice him. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That helps you keep your creatures from being destroyed. Same thing with Soul of Phyrexia. You can, when he's in play, 5 permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Steel Hellkite, 5/5 flyer, helps you destroy problematic creatures. His X can be 0. Destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X, so you can destroy all those treasure and token cards or anything else you need to get rid of. Armored Ascension, 1 white, 3 colorless. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each planes you control and has flying. This, you could surprise somebody with that. Drop it on one of your creatures, and boom, you're hitting for a lot of damage. Angelic Destiny, 2 white, 2 colorless. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4 and has flying for a strike and is an angel in addition to its other types. When enchanted creature dies, return Angelic Destiny to its owner's hand. It's basically the white Rancor. Next is Hero's Blade. You know, this is a potential card. Equipped creature gets +3/+2. So it's 2 to cast, 4 to equip. But it says whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach a Hero's Blade to it. So you're playing with a lot of legends in here. This will help buff up Giada to make her bigger, but also help your creatures. Mask of Avacyn, kind of for some flavor there. 2 colorless, 3 to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/+2. It has hexproof. Then we've got Imperial Armor. This is a very strong card. 2 white, 1 colorless. Enchanted creature gets XX, where X is equal to the number of cards in your hand. You play this on one of your angels to make them buff. Then Heirloom Blade. 3 colorless to cast artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever a equipped creature dies, you may reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So what this does is allows you to, when your angel dies, allows you to grab another one out of your deck. So that's my build. I hope you like that. Another card that we would add in here would be Grand Crescendo. I think this is a fantastic card for 2 white and X. It's an instant, create X, 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So that's going to help you protect your team if someone goes to do a board wipe, or you do a board wipe yourself. For an extra 2 white mana, you can wipe the board but get your creatures indestructible. I think Grand Crescendo is one of the best cards that's come out in this set. One more card we'll give an honorable mention to will be Gavel of the Righteous, 2 to cast, artifact equipment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a charge counter on Gavel of the Righteous. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on Gavel of the Righteous. As long as Gavel of the Righteous has 4 or more counters on it, equipped creature has double strike. Equipped, pay 3 or remove a counter from Gavel of the Righteous. So I think this could work in this deck very well. So that's my Giada build. I hope you like it. I think after all is said and done, people are going to realize that this is one of the better commanders. I know Lord Xander's kind of a beefy badass, but you know, this one is, I think, is going to surprise people, and I really like it. I like that Wizards of the Coast are finally trying to help White. White needs a lot of help. So there you have it. My Giada build. I hope you like it. Now remember, anybody that's on my Patreon, we've got 2 boxes that we're going to give away as prizes. So if you would, hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to comment. And we're going to see you on the next one. We're going to be cranking out deck techs on all these new commanders for New Capenna. So I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon on the next Commander's Crypt.